Welcome back to another week in the weekly Parsha. PARSHAS SHELACH, Shlach Lecha Anoshim, the very famous debacle of the Jewish people when they send the spies into the land of Eretz Yisrael. It's been a very rough week in Klal Yisrael. It's been a very tiring week spiritually and emotionally. There's a lot that has been going on for our nation, in Eretz Yisrael itself. And our hearts and our thoughts and our tefillahs, our prayers are certainly with all of our brothers and our sisters in Eretz Yisrael. And we are mispala, we are davening for the speedy end of this war that is going on. You have ballistic missiles that are flying. It's not like Klal Yisrael, they go into a place and they give warnings in advance so that all the civilians should please get out of the way. They shouldn't get in harm's way of getting hurt. We're talking about ballistic missiles that have enough power to destroy buildings, flying overhead into civilian areas and blowing places up. We're not talking about a very simple war that's going on right now. And we are sitting here in America. We are thousands and thousands of miles away. And maybe we watch the news, we listen to the news, we see what's going on, we watch the video clips, we see the pictures, we hear all of the politicians speaking their mind, and we wonder to ourselves, what could a Jew all the way in Tarzana, California, what could a Jew that's thousands of miles away from the battlegrounds, thousands of miles away from Tehran, thousands of miles away from Gaza, from Eretz Yisrael, what could a Jew, little old me in this town over here, so far away, what could I do for our Kodesh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael to help that we should win this milchama, we should win this war? What could I do to protect another Jew from a ballistic missile, Rahman al-Islam, falling on his building and falling on his house? What could I do? And the truth is, the matter is that if we turn to the Torah, which is always the answer to our questions, and always has the guidance, Torah is the language of Horowitz. Horowitz means guidance. The Torah is a guidebook for each and every single one of us to teach us, where does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want us to go in life? What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want us to do in life? And when we find ourselves in national tragedy, as we're in at this moment in our history, so we have to turn into the Torah, and we'll turn to the weekly Parsha, and it will give us the Horowitz, will give us the guidance and the clarity, hopefully, Be'ez Hashem, that we could walk away tonight with a little idea of what a little person like ourselves in a small little town could actually do. That's going to be major in the eyes of the Rebbeinu Shalom, gigantic in the eyes of the world, and can change the course of the tides of a war, can save our brothers and our sisters in Eretz Yisrael, and can take those ballistic missiles and push them far away from endangering the lives of our fellow Jews in the Holy Land of Eretz Yisrael. The very beginning of the Parsha says, Shlach Lecha Anoshim v'Yasur es Eretz Canaan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was asked by Moshe Rabbeinu, could we send spies into the land of Israel? The people themselves were getting a little bit nervous. A long question why it is. Klal Yisrael was promised this land. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them, it's a good land. I'm promising it to you for generations. It's the land of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. You have nothing to worry about. Go into the land. And Klal Yisrael, in some shortage of amunah, seemingly they end up asking, well, could we just go spy out the land? Let's see how big are the armies, how big are the soldiers, what kind of weaponry do they have? Do they have an iron dome? They don't have an iron dome. They have missiles, they don't have missiles. We'd like to know what we're getting ourselves into. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Shlach Lecha Anoshim, you can send them out. Send them out. I didn't tell you to, but you can send them out if you want to. Let them look around the land, let them see what's going on. They'll see it's all good. Rashi writes over here the following words. Lama nismecha parshas meraglim, the parshas Miriam. Why is the parsha of the meraglim of the spies, why is it juxtaposed right next to the last part, the end of the last week's parsha, where we're speaking about Miriam HaNeviah, the sister of Moshe Rabbeinu, who spoke Lashon Hara about her brother Moshe? She was afflicted with saras, with leprosy. Finally, Baruch Hashem, she comes to. However, says the Torah, she was punished as a result of speaking Lashon Hara for her brother. So, Lama Nismacha, why is this parsha the next one in line? Of course, you'll say, well, that's chronological order. No, the Torah could have put anything it wants to over here. What is the seeming connection between Miriam speaking Lashon Hara and Klal Yisrael over here speaking Lashon Hara about the land of Israel? Says Rashi, Lefi shelach sal iskei diba, Miriam herself was stricken as a result of speaking Lashon Hara. Shedibra ba'achia, she spoke about her brother Moshe. Urishoyim halalu, and these wicked people, these are the leaders of the Shvatim, of the tribes, but Rashi calls them Urishoyim halalu, these wicked people, they saw what happened to Miriam, and they did not take Musar, they did not learn the lesson, and they went ahead and ended up speaking Lashon Hara about the land of Eretz Yisrael. And as a result of that, it's the whole downfall of Klal Yisrael in the Midbar, in the wilderness. Now I just have one side question over here. These Rishoyim, these wicked people that Rashi is calling them, the ones that came to be the representatives of every tribe, and they said we're going to go spy out the land. So they saw what happened to Miriam, who spoke Lashon Hara about Moshe. Miriam is the greatest woman in the world. Moshe Benu is the greatest man in the world. He is the Navi, the prophet par excellence, who speaks panim al panim, face to face with Hashem. And as a result of this great woman speaking about this great man, so she was afflicted with sarah, she got punished for speaking Lashon Hara. Says Rashi, they should have learned that just like Miriam, who spoke Lashon Hara about her brother Moshe, and she was damaged over here with saras, and she was punished, they should have realized that if you speak Lashon Hara about the land of Israel, so things are not going to go well for you either. Why should I realize that? Moshe Rabbeinu is the emissary of Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu is the leader of the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu took them through the sea. He made all the signs and wonders through his yad, through his own hands, as the representative of Hashem. So when you speak Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu, so of course what's going to happen to you? You're going to get punished. But if I speak about a piece of land, I speak about a place that's one day will house the Beis Hamikdash, and I say Lashon Hara about that, I should get severe punishments the way that Miriam got punishment speaking Lashon Hara about flesh and blood, about her brother Moshe Rabbeinu. Clearly you see, in the world of Musar, in the world of learning from the things that you see, we are expected to realize that when you see that there are consequences, severe consequences, for speaking Lashon Hara about the Kadosh, the holy man Moshe Rabbeinu, you have to make an extrapolation to yourself and realize, if you'll go and you'll speak Lashon Hara about the holy place, Eretz HaKodesh, the holy land of Eretz Yisrael, which has like a neshama in and of itself, you're going to get punished as well. That's why Rabbi Dovid Feinstein, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the great son of Rav Moshe Feinstein, he was somewhat of a wine connoisseur. He liked good wine. And he always asked people, please don't bring me wine from Eretz Yisrael. And he would never buy wine from Eretz Yisrael. He didn't like to drink wine from Eretz Yisrael. Why not? You're such a connoisseur. Everybody knows the wine of Eretz Yisrael is the best. He said, because what happens if he takes a little swoosh and he takes a little swig of that wine and it doesn't taste so good? And someone's going to ask him, no, Rosh Hashiva, how's the wine? He'll say, it's okay. I just spoke Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael. I can't do such a thing. So give me some Baron Herzogs from the Southern California. That'll. If I speak Lashon Hara about Southern California, probably it's a mitzvah, so it's not such a bad thing. But to say Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael because of the wine that I drink, I cannot do that. Says Rashi, these Rishoyim, these people, They should have realized from the story of Miriam, you don't speak Lashon Hara, and if you do, especially about holy places like Eretz Yisrael, it will equal destruction. And Klal Yisrael ends up being destroyed as a result of this. They were on the threshold of going into Eretz Yisrael, and Hashem changed everything around. And now they have to wander 40 years in the Midbar. Most of the generation will end up dying out. Those that were younger, those that were older, they will survive. But everybody else between 20 and 60, they will die over the next 40 years in the wilderness. Why? Because they spoke Lashon Hara. So we hear all the time, Lashon Hara, terrible, terrible, terrible. What is so terrible about Lashon Hara? Evil speech and gossip. Why is it that it is the root cause of Klal Yisrael falling apart in the Midbar? It's why it is that they were not allowed entrance into Eretz Yisrael immediately. And as we know from the Gemara, tells us that night that the Meraglim came back to tell the Jewish people about their Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael, it was Tisha B'Av. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Bechisa, Bechia Shalchinim, you cried for no reason. I will give you something to cry about, mark my words, for the rest of your life. And this night will be a night of destruction for the Jewish people. Why? Because we spoke Lashon Hara. We spoke gossip about the land of Eretz Yisrael. What is so severe about Lashon Hara? Of course, we understand the answers are many. I'd like to share with you an idea that the Chavetz Chaim himself, who is the master of the teachings of Lashon Hara, what you could say, what you cannot say, what is mutter, what is permissible, what is asur, what is prohibited, where you have to be exceedingly careful not even to roll your eyes in a certain way, because even your eyes can be considered Lashon Hara. Even silence in certain cases can be considered Lashon Hara. How careful a person has to be, they have to know the law so well, so they should not trample on the sin of Lashon Hara. The Chavetz Chaim says like this, I want to give you a reason, another reason, says the Chavetz Chaim, why such a tremendous blemish comes to a person who speaks Lashon Hara, and why it damages the world so badly. When a person is poigem, he damages his mouth. B'diborim asurim, with words that are asur, that are prohibited to say, the words of gossip, Lashon Hara that we're speaking about. So he's now damaged his mouth. Could you see a person who has a mouth that's speaking Lashon Hara? Can you see the damage? Will they get a big lip? What do they get? Their teeth start falling out? What do you see when they speak? You don't see anything. You don't see anything in this world. You don't see an overbite. You don't see a blister. You don't see a scab. You don't see anything like that. So then where's the pagam? Where's the blemish in their mouth? Says the Chavetz Chaim, once that he uses his mouth to speak Lashon Hara, he's now damaged the vehicle called his mouth, his tongue, his lips, where speech comes from. And therefore, when he tries now to learn Torah with that mouth, when he tries to daven with that mouth, when he tries to say a bracha with that mouth, when he tries to beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please Hashem, give me parnasa with that mouth, says the Chavetz Chaim, you should know that he is maineah, he causes that all of his prayers, all of his Torah, all of his bakashas, his requests to the Rebbeinu Shalom, they are going to be held back right now. Shumedaber mila'alois lemalo, all of the words of Kedusha that he wanted to go up, they are blocked and withheld down here in this world. The mouth no longer works. A mouth that we were given to express the deepest places of our Tzelem Elokim, to express the deepest desires of our neshamas, to express the chachma, the wisdom of the Torah, to express our heartfelt tefillas. You can't do without your mouth. But if you damage your mouth, which means the spiritual aspect of your mouth, because you use these lips to speak Lashon Hara, you use that tongue that the word should roll off, how you spoke badly about another person, another Jew, and you put them down, and you might have even caused them damage along the way. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the same guy that just used his mouth for danger, he used it as a weapon, where rings of fire were shooting out of Lashon Hara. Now he's going to come and daven to me? He's going to ask me what he wants? He's going to learn Torah with that mouth? Says the Chofetz Chaim, guess what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Which means that a person could spend a lifetime davening. They could spend a lifetime learning. They could spend a lifetime saying nice things to other people to boost their spirits and lift them up. They could listen carefully, and they could be so empathetic and understanding of another person in their pain, and they spend their whole life doing all these wonderful things. But at the same time, they spent their whole life speaking Lashon Hara. They spoke about their spouse, they spoke about this one, they spoke about their neighbor, they spoke about their friend. They did all these things. And we get to Shemaim after 120 years, and we're so excited. I went through Shas 20 times. I davened every day, Shachris, Mincha, with a minyan, with Kavanah. I put all my thoughts into it. I spent time, I said the words slowly in my prayers. And we get to Shemaim, and we're so excited to see all the reward. And we get there, and there's nothing. And we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you must be mistaking me for somebody else. It must be my neighbor down the street. And Hashem says, oh, you mean the neighbor that you spent your life speaking Lashon Hara about? Yeah, that's the one. Exactly, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. While you were talking words of Torah, and while you were davening Shema Esrei, and while you were saying brachas on all of your food and all the mitzvahs that you did throughout the year, your mouth was also saying Lashon Hara. And as a result, it blocked all of the Kedusha, all of the holiness that was there inside of the mouth. Sorry, my friend, you got no reward for all the mitzvahs of Torah and of Tefillah and of prayers and of brachas that you did. Says the Chofetz Chaim, this is why Lashon Hara is so dangerous. Because it destroys the mouth, which was given to us to express the holiest of words in the world. Our Torah, our Tefillah, our brachas, our kind words to another. When the mouth is damaged, the words no longer go up into Shemayim the way that they should. Klal Yisrael is about to go into Eretz Yisrael. And the purpose of the Jew in Eretz Yisrael is to learn Torah and keep mitzvahs. That's the only reason we're there. And a big chelik, a big portion of what Eretz Yisrael is going to revolve around is the Beis HaMikdash. And in the Beis HaMikdash you bring korbanos, and in korbanos there's tefillah, there's prayer. So a bulk of the life of the Jew in Israel is going to be Torah and tefillah, learning and prayer. Not to mention the hundreds of brachas that a person can say every single day. Not to mention all the mitzvahs we'll get to do in Eretz Yisrael, and say the birchas mitzvahs, the blessings on those as well. And so our mouths are going to be running wild with Kedusha. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, are you speaking Lashon Hara about Eretz Yisrael? Are you trying to get into the holiest land in the world, where your mouth has to be so clean and so perfect, so that all of the words of Kedusha you say will go up to Shemayim? And you're speaking Lashon Hara? You're gossiping? You're putting down the holy land of Eretz Yisrael because you don't like what you see? Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Pagam, you just damaged your mouth. And Klal Yisrael begins crying as a result of it. They believe remember, you have to remember, there's three people that get hurt in Lashon Hara. Number one is the person who says the Lashon Hara himself. Number two is the person who the Lashon Hara is spoken about. And number three is the person who listens and is makabel and accepts that the Lashon Hara, the gossip that he hears, is true. And therefore, these Meraglim, they said Lashon Hara. They caused the people of Israel to listen to the Lashon Hara and believe it. And Eretz Yisrael is what suffers because now everybody doesn't want to go there. Because they hear that it's a land that eats up its dwellers. It's the people there are gigantic. The fruits are even big. It's abnormal over there. We can't survive. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, wait a second. This is not going to work. The Jewish people who are going to Eretz Yisrael to live a life of Kedusha, a life around the base of Mikdash, a life where they're going to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Tefillah and Torah. Your mouth just got damaged? Sorry, my friend. You can't go to Eretz Yisrael. If only you would have learned the lesson from Miriam, and you would have watched what she did wrong, and you would have heard her words of Lashon Hara, and you would have seen the punishments, maybe you would have realized Lashon Hara is a terrible thing. The Vilna Gaon tried twice in his life to go to Eretz Yisrael. And this is when it was wartime and Allah wasn't running. Even Allah wasn't running during that time. So it was very hard for him to be able to get to Eretz Yisrael. But he was the tzaddik of the generation, and he had this burning desire to go to Eretz Yisrael. He tried twice, and both times unusual things happened along the way of his journey, and he was prevented from going into the Holy Land. He never made it there. But as he was preparing to go to Eretz Yisrael, he wrote a letter to his mother and to his wife. It has become known as what's called the Igeres Hagra, the letter of the Vilna Gaon, in which he impresses upon his wife and his mother that I'm going to Eretz Yisrael, and when I settle down there, I'm going to send for you. And please, he writes, you must begin to prepare yourself, because Eretz Yisrael is like no other land in the world. A Jew from Vilna cannot go to Eretz Yisrael and think you'll live like they live in Vilna. No, it doesn't work like that, says the Vilna Gaon. When you come to Eretz Yisrael, it's all new. It's heightened. It's ruchnius. It's kedusha. It's holiness that we don't have in Vilna. And trust me, Vilna was probably holier than some of the places that we could go to in Eretz Yisrael today. And yet it wasn't enough for the kedusha of Eretz Yisrael. In this letter, he speaks a lot about Lashon Hara. How careful one's mouth must be not to speak the wrong words. And then he writes the following. And it's based on a Zohar that is quoted. And it says like this, V'chol rega v'rega. Every single moment, Sha'adam choseim piv, that a person muzzles their mouth. They're ready to speak Lashon Hara. They have juicy Lashon Hara to share. Someone's talking about somebody else, and you know something that is so sordid, that is so insidious. If you will say over these words right now, that's it, this person is destroyed, he's ruined, because you know the secrets about that person. And everyone's getting into it, and they're all laughing, and they're all talking, and you can feel your blood is pumping. Your heart is pattering inside of you. You're ready to tell over the words Lashon Hara. It's right at the tip of your lips. You're ready to give the zing over there that's going to make everybody go, wow, we never knew that about this person. Says the Vilna Gaon, if you find yourself in that situation, and you are choseim piv, and you decide to muzzle your mouth, you keep it closed, you don't say the words. Zoicha bishviloi, for that moment of sealing your mouth, you will merit l'or haganus, a light that was hidden, shein malach ubiryo yecholim l'shayer, that no angel and no creation of this world could possibly fathom and imagine. If a person is ready to say the wrong thing, and they find the wherewithal inside, the strength of character, what we'll call it Yiras Shamayim, the fear and the awe of Hashem, that they know HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want me to say these words, and he's choseim piv, like an animal, he muzzles his mouth, he shouldn't say the words, he bites his tongue. The reward that you are going to receive, the schar in the world to come, The Or HaGanuz, the hidden light, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, there was an Or, there was a light that was so holy, that was so lofty, so exalted. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that there would be Rishayim, there would be wicked people that would misuse it, He hid it away. Or HaGanuz, the hidden light. And He's saving it for tzaddikim. He's saving it for the end of days. He's saving it for the days of Mashiach. That light is going to come back. You will be Zayches, says the Vilna Gaon. You will merit just for keeping your mouth closed. Kol rega v'rega, every moment that you don't say Lashon Hara. The reward that you're going to receive, that incandescent spiritual light, that exalted Or that's waiting. Even a malach, even an angel will not be able to believe how much reward you got just for keeping your mouth closed. Says the Chavetz Chaim on these words of the Vilna Gaon, an amazing insight. Re'ei, take a look. It doesn't say, if you keep your mouth closed for 1 month from speaking Lashon Hara, imagine how much reward you're going to get. Oy Shavua, if you keep your mouth closed for 1 whole week and you don't say Lashon Hara, think about how much reward you're going to get. Oy Maisha, it doesn't say keep your mouth closed for 1 day. Try to tell a Jew to keep his mouth for 1 day and you're going to get so much reward. Or 1 hour, you're going to get so much reward. It doesn't say that. Rak Rega, only every moment that a person keeps their mouth closed, imagine how much reward they're going to receive. That means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu appreciates the struggle of a person holding themselves back from saying Lashon Hara. He knows that it's the most geschmack, the most pleasurable affair that there is in the world. For some reason, Lashon Hara was created in such a way, it feels so good to put somebody else down, to say over Lashon Hara about them, gossip and bad things. Hashem knows that every single person struggles, and He says, you know what, my dear Jew, if you just are chayis and piv, just go like this for 1 rega, 1 second, and don't say the words, well, you can imagine the amount of reward you're going to receive. Somebody once came to the Chavetz Chaim, and he was an orator, he was a maggid, he went around from place to place, and he gave drushes. And he came to the Chavetz Chaim bemoaning his plight. And the Chavetz Chaim said, what's the matter? He said, I just gave a drush in a room where it was like 2,000 people in the room. Very similar to tonight's shir. There were like 2,000 people in the room. And he said, and for 2 hours, I spoke. And I had a whole message, and I had a whole vort, and a musa, and tachach, and rebuke, and everything. 2 hours I spoke, non-stop. He says, but you know what? I kept looking around the room. I kept looking at people's reactions. I was looking at their faces. I was looking to see were they inspired. And he said, sadly, I didn't see a single person that I was able to make a hashpah, make an impact on. I couldn't see anything. I didn't see one person grew. I didn't see a person, an aha moment. I saw nothing, he said to the Chavetz Chaim. What in the world am I accomplishing? So the Chavetz Chaim says, I don't understand your question. The Vilna Gaon writes in the Igeres HaGra that koil rega v'rega shadam chayse piv, every single moment that a person muzzles their mouth and keeps it shut and doesn't say a word, he merits this great hidden light that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself created the world with. He said you had 2 hours where you were speaking and you were giving a drasha and nobody else in the room was talking. He says, could you imagine for the 1,000 or 2,000 people in the room, 2 hours times 2,000, how many people were chayis and piv, they kept their mouths closed, they didn't say the thing they shouldn't have said? Wow! What a reward you got that you helped them to do such a thing. So what else are you asking for? You wanted to get inspired too? You're asking for too much. The fact that they were able to keep their mouths closed, that's an amazing thing in and of itself. And therefore, a person should never underestimate what it means to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in His world, in His eyes, when you are sitting, wherever you are sitting in this world, whether it's here in Los Angeles or someplace else, and you have a temptation to speak the words of Lashon Hara, and you hold yourself back at the last moment, and you do not allow the words to slip out. Says the Vilna Gaon, you should know the reward, the schar, the merits that you're going to receive. The Or HaGanuz, the light that you're bringing down to this world, to yourself, is so enormous. Even a malach, an angel who sees the secrets in the spiritual worlds, he can't believe what you were zeicher to, what you were merited to have. That's the power of a person who doesn't speak Lashon Hara. You speak Lashon Hara, you damage your mouth. Then you daven, you pray, you learn Torah, the words don't go through. You speak about Eretz Yisrael, you cause the Klal Yisrael to be condemned 40 years in the Midbar and have to suffer every year on Tisha B'Av. But when you don't speak Lashon Hara, when you hold your mouth back, and you don't say those juicy words of gossip that you so badly want to utter right now, you know what happens, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says there's a reward that is generated, a light that is created, that even malachim, even the angels above, who understand many of the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu behind the scenes, even they cannot believe what it is that they are seeing. How could a person in this world who just keeps his mouth closed, like the Horowitz says, just for a rega, for 1 second, not a day, not an hour, not a week, not a month, not a year, 1 second, zeiche to the greatest reward of all. Now I want to share with you the words of Rabbi Yoina. The Chavetz Chaim himself, in his Sefer Chavetz Chaim, he quotes Rabbi Yoina from Sha'ar Tshuva extensively, because at the end of the third shar, the third gate of Sha'ar Tshuva, Rabbi Yoina spends a lot of time explaining the Isser, the prohibition of Lashon Hara. And he writes over here the following words. He says, you should know that Lashon Hara, evil speech, nimshal lachetz, is compared to an arrow. Why are the words of Lashon Hara compared to an arrow? Ki shoylev acheravim nichmeru rachamav ala adam v'yischan love. Imagine you are a soldier going out to battle, and you have a sword, you're wielding a sword in your hand. And you see a person, you're ready to go in there and put the sword through him, chomp off his head, whatever you want to do. And at the last minute he says, please, 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 don't kill me, please. And you look at the fear in his eyes, and you see the sincerity that he has. He says, please, please, I have a wife, I have children, please, please, please. And suddenly you feel mercy for this man. And you take your sword and you put it back in the sheath. However, it's not the same thing with a person that is shooting an arrow. Once that the arrow is released from the bow, you can never get it back. A sword is in your hands, you want to put it down, put it down. A gun is in your hands, put it down. The arrow, you pull it back, bang, you let it go, it's gone. I should have killed him, I should have. It's too late, the arrow is there. Says the Rabbi Yoina, that Kein Bala Lashon Hara, the person who speaks Lashon Hara, once the words leave his mouth, Lo yuchal liskain, he's not able to fix them and correct them. Too late. You released it. You pressed send on that piece of social media that just went around the entire universe in 0.3 seconds. Oh, I should have. It's too late. You sent it out already. I know I shouldn't have said that on the phone. I said it. It's too late. You said it. You're sitting in a group of people and everyone's talking about this one particular person. You've got the juicy Lashon Hara. You tried holding yourself back. You couldn't. Whoops, what did I just say? It's too late. It's like the arrow. You just shot a weapon into the air and you can't take it back right now. Says the Rabbeinu Yoina, this is Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is an arrow that is out of your control. For once that you release the words, there's no taking them back. Now you're going to have to do tshuva, and you have to go and apologize profusely. But as we know, the way the Lashon Hara works is, it releases over here, over there, over there, over there, over there, over there. How are you going to pick it all up? How are you going to take back all the arrows? You cannot. And therefore it cautions the Rabbeinu Yoina, be so careful before you let the words release from your mouth, because they're like an arrow. Once that you do, no taking it back. And that's why the Vilna Gaon says, Kol ha'chosim piv, if you muzzle your mouth and you don't release the bow, the reward that you're going to receive is going to be so enormous and so tremendous, you can't imagine, you can't fathom, Malachim, angels can't fathom. I think that it's no coincidence that the weaponry that Klal Yisrael has to shoot down the ballistic missiles that Iran is sending our way is called the chetz, which means the arrow. The one piece of machinery that they're using to try to shoot down the ballistic missiles, which unfortunately is not working 100%, is called the arrow. Because it's supposed to shoot up into the sky and knock down every single missile it sees. But apparently today the big news in Israel is we're running out of arrows. We don't have enough in our arsenal, and Iran still has hundreds, if not thousands, of missiles left. And we unfortunately don't have enough arrows left in our arsenal over here to be able to shoot and fire them and shoot down the missiles. So what are we going to do? So they say, well, if America will enter in, then we'll be okay. And what if they don't? Well, if maybe this country will, and what if they don't? So maybe here's the eitzah, maybe here's the advice that the Torah is telling us this week. That which caused the downfall of Klal Yisrael, of not being able to go into Eretz Yisrael, was the shame and the disgrace that was said with the Lashon Hara of the Meraglim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you were pagan, you damaged your mouth, you did such a terrible thing, you allowed to release the arrows of Lashon Hara, can't take them back. Klal Yisrael is in a frenzy, they're in chaos right now, there's national hysteria, we can't take it back. And as a result of those words, you cannot go in to Eretz Yisrael. Hundreds of thousands of Jews are going to die, Rahman al-Islam. Whoever will be left standing at the end of the 40 years will be left standing, but that's it, you're not going in. Says the Vilna Gaon, you want to know how you combat the sin of Lashon Hara? Chosim piv, hold your mouth back. Muzzle it. Put it under a lock and key. Bite your tongue, bite your lips, whatever you need to do. Don't let the words of Lashon Hara be released. And if you do, says the Vilna Gaon, what will take place? Reward that you can't imagine, so big, so vast, so great. Even the Malachim in heaven, they can't understand how you were Zeicha, a little man like you. Zeicha to such greatness. Maybe this is what we have to work on right now. Of the many, many things we have to work on, is that as the arrow, which is the machinery of the IDF, is not fail-proof and running low on supplies, that means that Iran is sending Rahman al-Islam lo aleinu ballistic missiles that are going unprotected. So maybe we have to protect Klal Yisrael. How do we do that? Guard your mouth from speaking evil. And if we are chosim piv, if we will seal our mouths, if we will muzzle ourselves up, and we won't say the words that we should not say, we will not talk badly about another Jew, about the way that they look, about the way that they dress, about the way that they talk, about the way that they walk, about the way they make money or they don't make money in the house, the way they spend money. We won't say bad words about another Jew, nothing. Chaysim Piv will muzzle our mouth. Says Hashem, there's going to be such a reward, and we're asking Rabbi Shalom that reward. It should come in the form of protection for Klal Yisrael. It should be a koyach that goes into the Shemayim, into the heavens. And even if there's no arrow from down here that's being shot up to block it, the fact that we're holding back our arrows, it should create a protective force field around Eretz Yisrael. And those missiles that look like they're going to land, Rahman al-Itzlan lo aleinu, somehow they disintegrate in midair. Somehow they fall into the empty field in the middle of nowhere where there was nobody around. Somehow they malfunction before they make it up into the sky and they blow up right there in Iran itself. Because we believe not in a physical response, we believe in a spiritual response. And we believe that the power of every single Jew is so strong and so great that if you enter into the world of Ruchni, into the world of spirituality, you enter into the world of being closer to Hashem, you enter into the world of, I'm going to guard my mouth from saying the wrong things, and that should be a tremendous chus for Klal Yisrael. Then Hashem says, the arrows that you did not send, I will turn them into arrows of spiritual strength that will come and they will create the force field and the protection and shoot down the missiles that are being sent at our brothers and our sisters in Eretz Yisrael. And that can be done by any Jew, anywhere in the world. It could be from a Jew in Bnei Brak, a Jew in Yerushalayim, a Yid in Borough Park in Brooklyn, and even a Jew right here in Tarzana, California, or wherever you are. And every time that we're chaysim piv, every time that we seal our mouth closed and we don't say what we wanted to say because we know it's the wrong thing, we are sending all of our help in the war efforts to Eretz Yisrael. That the Yidden that are there, they should be protected under the dome of Yiras Shamayim, under the dome of Kedusha, under the dome of Torah and of mitzvahs and of tefillah and of the Jew that is chaysim piv, that says, I'm going to be stronger. I am not going to allow the arrows of my tongue and my mouth to shoot out and say the wrong thing. And when we do that, so then we are right there on the front lines with everybody else. When we do that, we are wearing the uniform of a soldier in the army of Hashem, and we are fighting the battles. Although we are here, we're right over there. And Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, as we watch the news of history unfolding in front of our eyes, and we hear so many things that we don't even know what to think anymore. As we always mention, not recommended to be checking the news every single 5 minutes of the day. It's not going to get you anywhere good except to be consumed by anxiety, anger, fear, who knows all of the other emotions that will come along with that. So you're better off check it once in the morning. You want to check in the afternoon to make sure the world's still standing. And once again at night, you'll be okay. It's going to be okay. If there's an emergency, you're going to hear about it. The ikar, the main thing is chaysim piv. We will have challenges every day where it will be so easy to be drawn into a conversation of lashon hara, of saying the wrong words. And if you can be stronger than your tongue, you can be stronger than the arrows, you can be stronger than that burning desire to say over the words of lashon hara, you will be responsible for saving, who knows, maybe the lives of thousands and thousands of Jews who are under attack right now in Eretz Yisrael. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu see our valiant efforts here to be warriors and soldiers and fight against the vices that we have inside of us, the desires that we have to do the wrong thing, and rather make it right and do the right thing. And in that zechus, like the Vilna Gaon writes over here, we will be zeicha b'shviloi l'or hagonos, we will merit a light, a hidden light, that even malachim, even angels cannot fathom and understand. And be'ezus Hashem Yisbarach Shemai, that will be the light of Mashiach Tzidkenu, who's literally, like Reb Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal said, he's at the door. He's standing at the door, he's just waiting for us to open it. Perhaps when we close our mouths, that will be the schus that we have to open the door to Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheira v'yameinu.